episode 99. Mute up, and let's go. Welcome to episode 99 of the Guardian 1 podcast. We record live Thursdays at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern, right here on twitch.tv/Guardian 1 Network. My name is Remy, and tonight I am joined by Jez.
Good morning.
Agrios. Sharks.
So many changes!
Gray.
Eyes up, Guardians.
And the watermelon exo himself, Jake Myler.
Hello, hello. The hype is real.
We are going to be talking about all things Destiny, but first, housekeeping.
Hello, Guardians. Thank you for listening in on the podcast, however it is that you are choosing to listen. Be sure to follow Guardian 1 on Twitter, at G1Net. That's G, the number 1, N-E-T. In addition, be sure to check out the Guardian 1 website at guardian1.net. If you want to send us an email, you can send it to feedback@guardian1.net. If you do a search on Bungie.net for Guardian 1, you'll find our forums group, which we also use for both comments and feedback. Big thank you to all those currently in the Twitch chat. As Remy said at the top of the podcast, you can watch the show live at twitch.tv/Guardian1Network. We broadcast every Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. If you can't catch the show live, you can always search for the Guardian 1 podcast on iTunes, as well as the Guardian 1 YouTube channel at youtube.com/Guardian1Network. Guardian 1 is a proud member of the Guardian Radio Network, so be sure to check out the Guardian Radio Network website at theguardiansofdestiny.com. There you'll find all the different podcasts as part of the network, including the flagship podcast, Guardian Radio. They broadcast every Monday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/Guardian Radio. You can also follow their Twitter account at GuardiansofD and their YouTube channel, youtube.com/GuardiansofD. Other podcasts that are part of the Guardian Radio Network include previous episodes of TTL Party Chat and Robust Radio. There's also a podcast called Ghost and Echoes, which contains a bit of fan fiction and audio versions of the Grimoire cards found within Destiny. That's it for housekeeping. I'll see you again soon.
Alrighty, thank you very much, Hollow River. Okay, so let's get right to our guest. We have a very special guest today, Jake Myler, also known as the Watermelon Exo. You do really great work in this community, and I feel like you've really grown into the heart of this community. Welcome to the Guardian 1 podcast. How are you doing?
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, thank you for having me on the show.
It's really an honor. When I see your work, when I first saw your work, I was impressed because there was a level of emotion there that is, I don't know, really difficult for people to capture. You know, like some people can draw really well exactly what they see, or some people can draw really well something cool, but there's not this extra layer of heart. And when I first saw your Watermelon Exo, I thought, man, I feel like you've just thrown this character down into this world, and that's how it would move, and that's how it would be. Can you tell us a little bit more about this Watermelon Exo? Like, how did he come into being? Like, what made you? Where did he come from, and what made you want to do it?
Well, of course, it kind of like started off like just me was just playing the game. I'm a fan of Destiny, and then just playing it the first vanilla year, there was like I could tell that there were like little parts that I felt were missing from the story, and I think a lot of people agree that like the story was a little bit lacking, and I think a lot of the people at Bungie also agree the story was lacking, just because I think how fast they had to push it out. But like well, as I was playing, I really like picked up on those little things, and like something in me wanted to fill in those gaps and like try to explain like why are dregs just hanging out in a shack in the middle of nowhere? Like, what is up with that? Like, what is up with this world? And I just couldn't stop laughing at all the details. And so eventually I drew my character that from the game just for fun, and I was like, oh, this is really fun. I want to keep doing this, and it kind of evolved into me making actual pages of comic, and then as soon as I kind of uploaded my first comic, it just kind of took off from there.
So am I to understand that you actually made this Watermelon XO in the game first? Like you looked through the options that you were given, and you said, I'm going to make this an XO, but it'll be much of a watermelon right here. Is this?
Yeah. Like when I first saw that like character creation screen, oh my god, I was like blown away. Like the just the amount of options that Bungie let you take on was amazing. But I kind of have like a love of robots, and so XO, I had to do an XO. And I think we lost Remy maybe. But yeah, like yeah, and then like a little while later I was like just drawing my character for fun, and like some other people commented, "Oh, your robot looks kind of like a watermelon." And that's where Watermelon XO came from.
So your original intention wasn't actually to make his head look like a watermelon? That was just like happenstance?
No, I just tried to like I just wanted to make like the most contrasty looking face, and I picked like the kind of the cutest looking robot face. Like a lot of the robot faces look like they're going to war, but I wanted something that looked like softer and like happier. And then that's why I also had like a pink mouth, and yeah, and it just kind of happened to come around to look like a watermelon.
That's amazing, Jake. That's so brilliant. And the part of it that I want to ask you to, for the sake of our chat, who all of our listeners might not have read the podcast yet, or read the comic yet. Please go and check it out because it's really neat. Show how, or just explain to us the personality behind the character Watermelon XO.
Well, basically, like, yeah, like I kind of took it in like a perspective where, if you were a robot XO guy that just found yourself in this new place, in this new world, and you were given the amount of explanation that your ghost gives you, like where do you even take that? So so my character kind of Watermelon XO kind of like starts off almost like a baby, like a child, like he's like asking like, are you my dad? What is this world? Or does my mom live in this place we're going to? Or like, who are these? What are these creatures? Are you like, why do I have to pick up a gun? I don't understand. I'm not a murderer. And so like it just kind of like I just kind of take all the different steps that you took, that everyone's familiar with, like when you start off the game, and kind of broke it apart, and tried to make light of it, and kind of poke a little fun at it. And I was a little bit scared that like Bungie would be mad a little bit because I was like kind of poking fun at their game, but like from what I hear, they thought it was pretty funny too. So.
Yeah, I can't see how they'd be mad. It's awesome.
Yeah, and actually, I can see from very strict business-minded individuals saying, like, this is our intellectual property and we want to preserve certain elements of it, and I I give full credit to Bungie for the way that they have handled the community creations and the way that they've supported that whole element and built up that community. I think that they've done the right thing in looking at artists such as yourself and trying to really empower you and give you the freedom to flesh out their game in ways that they probably never imagined it could be. Remy, welcome back. We kept going strong. I just was checking in with Laze about the personality behind Watermelon XO. I threw up on the screen for the chat the very first comic from the Watermelon XO comic series, and I just love the idea that, you know, here's this XO waking up, calling his ghost his new dad, and he's like going, what am I supposed to do? Is there any plot to this game whatsoever? The tongue-in-cheek humor is just brilliant.
Yeah. Thank you for having me back. Good news, great news, really. Skype has updated itself, so now I have all the best features. You couldn't have waited until after the podcast, and then I opened
one of those features, staying connected.
Apparently not. You know, that didn't crack the top 10 list of things that people wanted from Skype. Strange. Okay, so I think it's really great that Bungie does let you gives really all of the artists a creative leeway like crazy. You know, and it's my understanding that as long as you're not doing something that's like hateful or is really inappropriate, they give you all of the leash that you have to hang yourself, really. And that actually brings me to one of the questions I have. I want to get back to the fact that you created the character first and then took that person into a comic. I think that's really great, and I'd love to hear whatever else you said after I got cut off, because I asked you the question and I heard you say "ha," and then that was it. I was gone.
Oh, no.
I never seen Skype just shut down like that before. I'm gonna have to go in and check the setting that says go ahead and update it, you know, whenever. So there is when you decided to make this Watermelon XO into this comic, I believe that, and I'm certain that you know this because you are walking this fine line that I'm hoping to gain information on. You grant Bungie the right to use your creation for whatever they want. Basically, like they let you do what you want with it, and then they are free to do whatever they want with your creation as well. And this is why some of your images showed up as avatars on Bungie.net. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't set in stone, and it's not like I signed a contract or something or an agreement. Oh no, Remy, don't leave. But yeah, I was really excited when they put it up there because then I could have my own, you know, I could be on Bungie.net with my own avatar, which
that's awesome.
Which kind of blew me away. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. Okay, so how is it that you are able to make merchandise with this Watermelon XO? How is it that you are able to do that when I've seen so many other people get taken down for something that in you know, on my untrained eye might seem really familiar? Like, what is it? Like, you have a great line of shirts. You have a great line of products. One of those things I would like to show off to everyone right now. I got to meet Laze this
cool.
weekend. And I got this really sweet Watermelon XO keychain thing. It's so cute. And then look at this. There's a little charm associated with it as well, a little watermelon. And so how is it that you're able to make these things and then Bungie doesn't come in and say no?
Well, I think it's just it's through the filter of, you know, my drawing and stuff. And as long as I don't use specific words and stuff, I actually made a shirt a while ago that a half a year ago that actually said Watermelon XO, and that I put it up online and it suddenly disappeared and I was like, what's up? And I guess the t-shirt company that I was selling it through said that Activision actually contacted them, so I guess I'm not supposed to use the actual word XO.
Interesting.
Yeah, it probably got caught automatically in that regard. I know a lot of these places, like Activision hires outside companies that are services that just protect copyrights for big companies like that. So they're just basically given a list of like copyrighted words and things like that, and they scour the internet for stuff like that automatically. So it might not even actually been someone who cares at Activision saying that's a no-no. It's probably just because, like you said, it had their copyrighted, EXO thing.
Yeah, and I think Bungie's really cool with like a lot of their stuff, like because like you see a lot of streamers and stuff using like the Destiny tricorn symbol for a lot of their stuff and different interpretations. But so they're pretty cool about it. But I think if the Activision lawyers find certain things wrong, like certain words and symbols, they might be a little mad. I don't know.
Now, before Destiny launched, I wrote a story on, there was a guy who took a lot of the Destiny artwork and put it on shirts. And he did a really good job, editing the artwork and scaling it to the shirts and things like that. But he got shut down right away. And from what I understood from that point in time, if you are not selling the product, but you're using it for your own purposes, as long as you follow everything in their press kit, you won't get in any trouble using their, you got to use Destiny and Tricorn appropriately and stuff like that. And then the next step would be on that is, as long as, like you said, it's through the filter of your own artwork. Like that bottom of Remy's keychain doesn't say Destiny and have the Tricorn logo on it. If that were on there, you probably would have got nailed. But this is inspired by Destiny rather than a copy of something from Destiny.
Yeah, and look, just as a little bit of elaboration on that, like you go to a comic book convention and there's a lot of artists drawing Superman, and DC doesn't go after them for drawing Superman, except one time they did go after them, and they got such a big backlash that from artists that they really backed off. It's a really bad idea. So as long as it's like an interpretation and it's like the artist's own work, then I think it's fine.
Yeah, definitely check out Jake's Redbubble store. I was really excited this past week. And I'm wearing it today. I got my Watermelon EXO shirt on. I also got a copy of The Raid, which if you look on the stream right now, this is the graphic for that Laze, that Jake Myler, Lazesummerstone, he created, which is a brilliant piece of artwork, and it looks awesome on a shirt. I was going to wear it for the stream tonight, but it's a little hard to see because it's so intricate. But it's a great shirt. So check out his store. I put the link in the chat. So look at that. If you're listening to it online, he's at redbubble.com/people/Forest Lord. Is there a story behind Forest Lord, Laze?
Yeah, that was like, I wanted to make like a t-shirt brand at some point, and it kind of failed, and I was like, never mind. That's why if you look on the store, there's like one t-shirt that's not Watermelon EXO related. It's just like a weird alien deer hybrid thing. That's what that's all about.
Yeah, I see that.
I thought that was part of Mosscreek Divide.
I have another comic besides Watermelon EXO that I put out called Mosscreek Divide, and it's kind of more like intrigue, sci-fi, like kind of like that Netflix show Stranger Things. It's very similar to that.
It's similar to that without the actual scariness. Like, I feel comfortable reading that comic. There's no like there is danger and there is peril. I hear Agrios. Is he still talking? Can anyone hear me?
Yeah.
No, I can hear you.
Oh, yeah.
I just chuckled lately. Oh,
okay. So it feels lighthearted, but it's set in this really beautiful world. Like so the when I'm enjoying the Watermelon EXO comics, it's very fluid, and it's very, like, I feel like you've just flung it to the page. That's how very loose and how very expressive it is. And when I look at this Mosscreek Divide, it's a lot more tightened down. Like, I feel like you're almost trying to not do as good of work on Watermelon EXO, because that's part of that world that he's living in. Like, it's so raw, and Mosscreek Divide is very refined, but both of them have like this amazing amazing color. Like there's so many colors, you use so many colors that I would never think about using, but they fit so well into the composition. Like I see your work and I go through these stages. I think, oh, damn you, Lazesummerstone, and all your amazing ability. And then I think, you know what? Like this looks so easy. I bet I could do this. And I sit down and I can't do it. And then I say, damn you, Lazesummerstone.
I'm sorry, Remy. I'm sorry.
But no, it's really excellent. Mosscreek Divide is really excellent. Watermelon Exo is really excellent. How long have you been drawing? How long have you been painting?
My whole life, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been trying to do. I've actually been working in comics for like 15 years or something. Yeah, but I actually I mean, a lot of that time was me trying to get a job in comics and then struggling to work and be a comic book artist. And then right now I'm in the phase where I gave up comics and I just doing it for fun. But with Watermelon XO, I find myself like getting sucked back into it. So it's pretty cool.
Is there anything that you'd like to plug right now? Because I know that I would love to see work that you've done in the last 15 years. So is there any books out there right now that you wanna tell people about? Well,
there's one book that's still on sale in some places, like on Amazon. It's called Orphan Blade, and that was my most recent graphic novel. But I always have to kind of warn people, it is like the most violent and the most graphic comic that it wasn't written by me, but it explores like levels of violence that I've never done before. and actually, like, after doing that, I had to like take a break because it was very intense.
I kind of see you as the Watermelon Exo. Like meeting you, you seemed like a very, very cool, very relatable, very not trying to stand in anyone's way. And I see that in this Watermelon Exo, and I bet I can draw a straight line between exactly what you were just talking about, like this hyper violence, and then going into that, both you and this Exo have, like. You need to recharge. You need to, just take a step back and say, holy crap, because I have to see this now. I have to purchase this book now because I want to see these levels of violence that you're talking about. I don't suggest anyone in the chat do it though. I will bring back to you the tales if I'm just crying next week on the show.
But Remy, go ahead. Go ahead, Laze.
Oh, well, if you want to purchase it for cheap, it's available on the Comixology, for download.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Very cool.
I just wanted to highlight a couple issues from our chat because we have some very astute people in our chat. Hedge is confirming that 335 helmets and chest armor are decrypting right now with the update that just dropped, as well as boots are decrypting up to 339. So it looks like Bungie is having some interesting issues with the latest update that just went live.
Dang. Well, I apologize to anyone who chooses to listen to this instead of go grabbing your
podcast canceled
339. Right.
We're going to play Destiny. No, we got 11 days. We can wait. But all I want to say is free hedge.
Okay. So I said to you, you said that this week's Mosscreek Divide was going to be put aside because you've been very busy, and that's totally understandable. And I said to you, what happens? I need to know what happens with Liz and Amy. And you said something along the lines of, like, do you even know what happens? So what I'm curious to know is, I imagine that you have at least a couple of pages blocked out in your mind about what you're going to do. You release these weekly, and so you should probably have an idea of what you put down. You do work very quickly, though, so I can't imagine that it's too far. But so do you have like this the entire story arc for that mapped out? Because relating comparing this to Destiny, like the Traveler hasn't done anything. The Traveler hasn't moved. We barely know the speaker. You know, like if we look at our time in Destiny overall, I spent so little time with that speaker. I spent so little time on that entire side of the tower in this world where we are becoming acclimated to this. Here's this Traveler. It's here every single day. When it does move, it's going to be fantastic. So in this Mosscreek Divide, do you have like an end game? Do you have an idea of where you're going to take this, or are you just going to, I don't know, kind of like Dick Van Dyke it, you know, like like in that Mary Poppins, where he just kind of drew a world and then they jumped into it. And what's going to happen? Who knows?
Well, you know what? This kind of encompasses the question I was going to ask too. Like, I was curious if you saw the images in your head and then thought up a story for your creative visions, or if you had a story that you then illustrated.
Well, Mosscreek Divide's a little bit different because I actually was offered maybe a potential publishing deal for that one with Oni Press, which is located in Oregon, but the editor there wanted me to like basically write the whole first book of what would be a first graphic novel. So the first maybe 150 pages or so are actually written of Mosscreek Divide, and I'm just like releasing them one day at a time. So when I said like I don't even know what's gonna happen, I was joking.
Okay.
Sorry, Remy.
Well, you know, I could see it. I could see you know what is going to happen, and then you just hang out for a little bit and think about it. You know,
actually, like I wrote it all, but I do severe revisions every time. Every page, like I really change the dialogue and stuff.
Man, this is exactly what I think that happened with Destiny. You know, they started off, they said, okay, well, let's come up with, you know, the first 150 pages or whatever. And so they did that. And then as time went on, they said, well, this doesn't make any more sense than this. Let's go with this. Like you say, you do massive revisions. You're just one person. Imagine a whole studio of people, you know, interested in doing revisions when it suits the narrative of the game they want to make long term. So it's, I don't know.
And I hear that's what happens with a lot of games. Like they're changed in the last week before the release, or a lot of movies are changed in the last edit. So you never know.
Got it. Okay, so I got to wrap this up. We got to start talking about Destiny here soon, but I'm really having a great time asking you all these questions. I am curious to know what started you on video games. Like, what was it that brought you to video games?
Well, I've always been like really into video games. Like, I saved up to get my Super Nintendo by selling my own drawings and stuff, and
that's
like,
awesome.
Yeah, but I was actually into RPGs for a really long time, and I only got into like first person shooters recently. Like with I played Portal 1, and I just was blown away that that a first person shooter could tell such an amazing story. So then I was hooked. I played all the Half-Lives, and then I got into Dead Space, which told like a sci-fi story, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like you can tell this whole like what's almost like a cinematic movie in a first person shooter, because I thought it was all like Quake or something. And then just Destiny came along, and I was like, wow, that looks amazing. I gotta get into that.
Okay, excellent. When we have guests, I ask everyone if they have a question for you. And so I would like to begin with Gray. Gray, do you have a question for the Exo Watermelon?
Yeah, I lied to you earlier. I have a ton of questions for the Exo Watermelon. So the first one that I wanted to bring up, and I'm going to throw it here in the chat, is thank you for recreating my childhood with Darkwing Duck. Here is an image, a comic that was made by Lazesummerstone for Darkwing Duck. So tell me a little bit about some of the things that you do outside of Watermelon Exo and Mosscreek Divide, because those are the two comics that I certainly was most familiar with before I looked into your background a little bit. I kind of want to know about the Darkwing Duck. I want to know about the Finding Nemo, the FraggleRock, some of this other work that's really good quality work that you've done in the past.
Well, I mean, basically, like, I knew a few editors at different places, like Boom Studios. They do like a lot of kids comics and collaborations with Jim Henson and Disney. And every time they'd ask me, "Oh, do you want to do a cover, Darkwing Duck cover, or like a FraggleRock mini story?" And I was like, I even though I had a job at the time, I was like, "Yeah, hell yeah, I'll totally do that." So I just been kind of like, just any spare time that I can have, I've just been doing these different comic books because, yeah, I mean, I really enjoy those stories growing up, and I appreciate like the artistry and like Finding Nemo, for example. Yeah.
Okay, so this is funny. I just want to come in real quick. So funny. As soon as Grace said Darkwing Duck, I heard the reason why Laze didn't want to be on camera, because I just felt his head fall into his lap like, oh great. You know, like that's where they're going. They're going to Darkwing Duck, you know. But now that I'm looking at all of this, and this is all your work, yeah, you're seeing this too, Laze?
What are you showing me, Sharks?
Okay, so because what I'm seeing here is there's two ways that I judge an artist. I judge an artist by, number one, how do they draw what they want to draw, and then number two, how do they draw what other people are familiar with already? Like what is it that they can do to replicate something that somebody already knows? And is, you know, as far as like the Watermelon Exo and the Mosscreek Divide, I've never seen those things prior, and so your interpretation, I just accept it. But what I'm seeing here is like a masterful hand at work here. Like you've captured these images of creatures that I know and love and have seen my whole life, and I wouldn't be able to tell you that you weren't the person who created these, judging by how great this artwork is. So, what's that?
Man, well, thanks a lot, Remy. you were way too kind.
No, this is excellent. This is excellent work. Continue, Gray.
Yeah, this is a great segue. So I'm curious as to how does the artwork creation process happen? Does the author pitch to you, say with the FraggleRock that I have posted here, do they pitch to you the story and say, I need you to draft up some concepts that might go into this, and then you have some artistic just freedom, or do they kind of set the scene more for you? Do they tell you kind of what they're looking for to tell that story?
Well, like it's really different with each writer. For FraggleRock, though, I got paired up with the writer Kate Leth, and she does a lot of different like kids comics and stuff, and she's really talented. But it like each page was like she'd tell me what's happening on the page and what the dialogue is, but then she'd pretty much leave all the artistic direction up to me, because that's probably the best way to do it as a comic book writer, is you leave the art stuff up to the artist unless it's something really specific. And so I just I did my thing, you know. I really like FraggleRock, and I really like Jim Henson Studio, and yeah.
Did you ever draw anything from the Dark Crystal?
No, unfortunately, no. I never got to. Oh no, that's wrong. I did do some guest art for Dark Crystal, for another comic book, and I did an upcoming work in an illustration book for the Labyrinth. It's unreleased yet, and no one knows about it. But it's yeah. But I really like Jim Henson stuff.
Me too. Did you watch that show that the Jim Henson House put out a couple years back? I think a couple seasons back, where it was like these people making puppets.
Hell yeah!
That was so good.
Yeah, it was really good. I really wish they continued that thing.
Right. Yeah, it was engrossing. Yeah, Creature Shop. And the girl who won, she nailed it.
Oh yeah, I agree. Yeah, that was the right choice.
I mean, all of their stuff looked really good. It was better than what I would do. But I don't know. Okay, you know what, Gray? Why don't you pick the best question you have out of the rest of them? I got to get to these other guys, and then we got to talk about Destiny. I mean, I could just do this whole show about Jake Myler. Very interesting dude. I bet this isn't even just the first cache that Gray has found out about you, Jake. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Gray, pick your best question.
Okay, how do you feel about Thorn coming back?
Yeah, I never used Thorn year one because I never got it. But I got it after it post nerf, and then I just never used it. So I'm pretty excited to be able to use it, and a legit Thorn. It's pretty exciting. Although they nerfed it one more time, according to today's update. Sad.
Alrighty. Sharks, what do you got for Mr. Exo Watermelon?
Okay, so obviously I said to Laze a few weeks back, oh, I want him to make something for me, and I still want that. I'm going to get a hold of you and talk to you about that.
Cool.
It's easier for me because we're friends on Twitter. You know, we can talk and whatnot. How would somebody else get a hold of you if they wanted you to make them something? And how would you go about that for those people out there in the community?
Like the easiest way is just like hit me up on Twitter, send me a private message, and especially if you know what you want, like that helps me so much. And then the other thing is like be willing to wait a little bit, because sometimes I'm just in like crunch mode. I have like 10 different people to draw things for, and I just can't get to you right away. But yeah, if you're willing to wait a little bit, I'll totally draw anything for anybody.
You're a good guy. Okay, Jez, what do you got for Mr. Watermelon XL?
Not much. I'm usually the person that doesn't have a question. So my best question would be, compared to like your more detailed, like serious looking artwork, how long would it take for you, or how long does it take for you to make the Watermelon XO comic itself?
It takes from like probably on average like 8 hours or something, but I work on it in a few days usually. Some days, once in a while, I've actually done a whole Watermelon XO comic page on stream, like on the I have like a Twitch stream, and sometimes I live stream drawing it, but it's probably the most boring stream possible because it's so slow.
It's only boring if you're not interested in seeing the work that goes into art. Like if you're interested in more than just the final product, I mean it's amazing. It's like
there's
a
reason why they added that entire section in Twitch.
Right, absolutely, the creative section of Twitch.
Yeah.
Right? And so yeah, it's like having the wool pulled from over your eyes. Like all of a sudden there's like you see what these people are trying to do. I don't know. It's amazing.
You know what the best part about it is? You can watch them do it and still be like, how did they just do that?
Right.
It's like shading? How did it suddenly get shading and I just blinked?
Right? It was a single stroke, and now this whole thing is contoured, you know, like he's a magician. Jake Myler is a magician.
The good thing about Twitch though is like it keeps me on task, and like I know people are watching, so I'm like, oh, I gotta go as fast as possible. I know I'm boring these people. I'm just that stuff.
So to add the pressure, if you check in the chat, and if you're listening to this podcast on iTunes, go to www.twitch.tv/Lazesummerstone, LAZESUMMERSTONE, and give him a follow and watch his design process. I'm sure it's great.
Thanks, Gray.
Alrighty, Agrios, you just were last because you don't have video, and I want to address that after this. But I'm curious to know, what is your question for Jake Myler?
I touched on it before. So when you're not bound by someone else, when you're doing your own work like on Watermelon XO, I heard how it started out. You just started drawing your Guardian, and it kind of went from there. But now that it already is a comic, do you visually see scenes in your head and then come up with story for them, or are you illustrating a story that you've come up with in your head, or how does that work out? And are the stories completely you, or do you have like a tight group of friends that you hash these stories out with? How's that all work?
No, it's pretty much me. Although like sometimes ideas and stuff come from like people that I'm like, say I'm like doing a raid with. I'm working on a comic right now that we kind of came up with while trying to do the hard mode raid like a little while ago with a group. But yeah, it's just stuff I come up with while playing the game, and then after that I just start drawing it and then just see if it will fit in that one page. Because I kind of like try to make sure that every page has a joke, at least for Watermelon Exo. And yeah.
Okay. Hegemony in the chat has a question for you, Laze. He says, "Hey, Laze, when you look back on your comics, do you see things that happened in your life that you didn't consciously write?"
Yeah, that's a really deep question, Hedge.
Yeah, you thought you were just going to get simple ones like Darkwing Duck, Finding Nemo.
I don't know. I usually, when I look, like, this is really I don't know. When I look at my comics, like I'm usually either like kind of grossed out by them, or like I'm like, oh, I could have done better on this page. So I'm like usually too distracted to even like go into deep like analytics of it or anything, like, or the opposite. And I'm like, oh, this is really funny. I did a really good job here.
Awesome.
I don't know if that probably didn't answer your question, but I really don't know how to answer that question.
Well, Hegemony, I would say that is a very big yes or a very big no.
I'm sorry.
Don't go back and read Darkwing Duck. Okay, so why don't we get some Destiny? Very exciting announcement, though. We are at 774 hearts on this Twitch page. I don't really know what that means, but there we are. We're 3 away from 777, which I think is pretty sweet.
That's our followers,
by the way.
Sweet. Almost 777 followers. I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, so Laze, did you have any questions for us? Is there anything you need to know before going on?
No, let's get into some Destiny talk.
Let's get into some Destiny talk. So I am seeing in our video chat, there's some very exciting news going down in the world of Destiny. Sharks, do you want to fill us in on what's going on?
Yeah, the drops are happening now. But okay, so everybody's tweeting out, oh, you're getting you're decrypting engrams and your light levels going up. But I warn everybody, if this is a mess up by Bungie, they may fix it. So you got to be careful. But I myself, I'm definitely going to grind out tonight, see if I can raise my light level without wasting any of my engrams. And everybody else maybe should too, just in case.
I think you can only go up to 335 plus 4 points towards the next one.
I think
you can only decrypt legs higher.
Agrios?
I think Bungie just did it to get everybody to crash in all their engrams and their vaults before Rise of Iron hits.
Maybe.
I like that. It's a good idea. You've just now made me not so stressed out that I should be going and playing it right now. Yeah, so decrypting up to 339, that's pretty crazy. And very exciting. Okay, so why don't we get to some news? Agrios, what has happened since we last talked? Oh man, we didn't ever talk about your trip to the DCC. I want to talk about my trip to PAX. I don't know. Should we leave that for next week? Do you just want to talk about what's happening right now? We got about an hour and some change
Well,
left.
we're good. I mean, we can either get right into the update and whatnot, or if you want to talk about PAX and DCC before it becomes old news, I think that's not a bad idea. Why don't you go ahead and talk about PAX real quick?
Okay, real quick. PAX was awesome. I met a lot of cool people. I got to hang out and chat with Laze. You know, really, really great person. Really, really nice to talk to. Brought me a treat. I love it. I love my treat. I'm actually afraid to use it. Like, I want to put it on my keychain, but what if I drop it? Or, like, what if I scratch it? I think I might just put it on my board.
I'll just send you a new one if you ever need a new one. That's fine.
Okay.
Don't worry about
it's going on the keychain then.
Lifetime replacement guarantee. It's like a Zippo, man.
Yeah.
And I purchased a sweet Bungie sweater that has a tricorn on the corner and that sweet shield over here. I was going to bring all that stuff up to show, and I got that warlock, that little mega block warlock with it, and a code. I got a code for that thing. I also got a code for my son and my girl because every time you went through, you got another code. And if I had known that, I think I would have started my day off a lot earlier. I kind of figured that they were somehow stopping people from getting one code. It was a stupid idea in my head, but it was a lot of fun. The only other thing I saw there that was really worth my time was this game called Eco, and it was basically like Minecraft, but with repercussions attached to it. So if you wanted to make a house and you cut down all these trees on this plot of land, well, what lived there before? Like, you see bird populations and animals can go extinct. And so it's really cool. Minecraft
as someone that lived at the Bungie booth, did you also see Hob down by Rooster Teeth?
I did. That looked really cool too.
Like
I saw actually a couple of things.
Zelda-like game.
Yeah, very cool. I'm sad I didn't
go back. The art on
to
that looked great.
And so, yeah, I got to play Supremacy. Supremacy was cool. I didn't really like any of the weapons. Oh, I did get to see Ranger Watts, and I complained to him about the auto rifle and the scout rifle. He told me to use the hand cannon, and I totally mopped up.
The auto rifle was overpowered.
I couldn't use it. It was like...
That's weird.
Right? You know what? Maybe it was just the scope I was using. Maybe the scope I was using wasn't playing to its strengths. But yeah, I couldn't kill anybody with that thing. It was all over the place.
What was your impression of Supremacy? You know, we talked about this before, and it, you know, you hadn't played the Call of Duty version. So what'd you think about it?
It was really cool. It was almost like being able to see a heat map in real time, you know, like how in Control you have these 3 very set control points, and you knew when someone was there because they were taking the spot. And so seeing all of these crest markers on my heads up display, I knew that somebody was heading there. So it was like watching. It was like being in some rapids. Like, it was really quick. It was really fun. It was really. I did exactly what I thought I was going to do, which was run to the opening to where I could see a crest and pick off people as they ran to it. Like, there was a lot of strategy that went into it, and that was a lot of fun too. Like, I think that's what I'm going to do when the game goes live. I think I'm just going to wait for fools to step out in front of me so I can shoot them. Like, it was a lot of fun, and kind of like the same thing that you were saying, Sharks, with Control. You know where those people are supposed to be going. Well, there was no shortage of my team and that team going for those crests. So it was really fast. The maps feel a little too open for me, but that might just be because I'm not used to the sight lines yet. And also that might have something to do with the game type, how it was constantly moving. You know, if you saw
Did you get to play Icarus?
I did. I played on each of the new maps, and it was a lot of fun. They were really cool. I feel like they are higher. Like some of the terrain in the year 1 and 2 maps, I feel like they are a certain height. I feel like these new ones were like there were longer distances in between the things, so I had a lot of fun gliding around. So yeah, that was PAX. I did a lot of not shaking people's hands because germs. and that it was awesome. And I'm just barely feeling just a little sick. I got a cough, but I'm feeling good. Agrios, why don't you tell us about the DCC? Did you meet anybody cool there? Did you get to play Supremacy?
No Supremacy for me. They did have game stations set up. Guardians were playing each other. They had laser tag arenas set up. Guardians were shooting at each other in real life.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. The whole thing was in a giant room, like a giant gymnasium sort of size room. And up at the one end, they had the panel that was going on, and the speakers were loud enough that you could actually just wander around, talk to people, check out the booths, and you could still hear what was being discussed at the panel just about anywhere in there. It was kind of nice as far as that regard goes. You didn't have to just sit in a room secluded from other things to just hear what was going on with the panel. I got to meet Cosmo for the first time in person, and got to meet Mark on Guardian Radio and K-Dub, our clan member. From what I understand, we were the first clan members who didn't know each other prior to Guardian 1 to meet outside the game.
Crazy.
And that was live on the Guardian Radio stream or whatnot.
Awesome.
So there's talked to lots of great people there. Got to meet Mystic Rose. Was excited about that.
Oh, awesome!
And lots of other great people. That was the best part of it. Really, it was just going and hanging out with the people. I think with the attendance they got this year, next year is going to be even that much crazier.
Definitely.
I mean, people who stand to make a profit by making things fun will have a lot more incentive to show up because they know the profit will be there. They have numbers they can throw out at them now as far as that sort of thing goes. There were approximately 2,000 people turned away at the door who showed up ticketless in the morning. So
oh my god. Right,
it was a madhouse. Fortunately, I missed the very beginning of that there. When I rolled in, it was a quite pleasant arrival for me. So.
And so how did you get your ticket? Because I think I remembered you tweeting about, will there still be tickets at the door? Was that for you or was that for somebody else?
That was for somebody else who was possibly coming with me, and they weren't sure whether or not they were going to go.
Yeah, you don't want to drive down there with somebody who's going to get turned away at the door.
Right. So I wasn't sure, what the prospects for that were, and I ended up just buying it ahead of time and whatnot. So
it's good thinking.
So this might
excellent.
be a good time just to mention to everyone that they did announce the dates for Guardian Con 2017. It's going to be June 30th and July 1st. It's a 2-day event. We're working right now really hard with all the members of the Guardian Radio Network family, which includes Focus Fire Chat, obviously our flagship podcast, the Guardian Radio Podcast, to get booths for all of us. We're going to try to bring as many of the Guardian 1 clan members as possible, so there can be a really good, strong representation of Guardian 1 at Guardian Con 2017.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that information. Great. Okay, so are we done, PAX? DCC. Actually, you know what, Jake? What was your take on PAX this year? As how many days did you go, and did you meet any cool people? And do you have a favorite experience? And how was Supremacy for you?
Well, I haven't gone to PAX in a couple of years just because I keep missing out on buying tickets.
Yeah.
But I got Monday. I got Monday, like Remy. I got Monday. But then one of my friends, a friend of mine that works at Bungie, he was able to secure me another badge. So I ended up going out to breakfast, which ended up being a bunch of donuts and stuff on Saturday morning, and that was probably one of my favorite experience of PAX, was just going out with all the Bungie, it was a bunch of forum moderators and stuff, and we were just joking around while I was kind of unconsciously freaking out that I wasn't in line for Supremacy at the same time. But we got there, and Supremacy was awesome. I really enjoyed it. Although it felt weirdly I don't know if it's just not my character or something. It felt like the characters were moving a lot slower than usual or something. I don't know. I had fun like messing around with the different guns and stuff, and just seeing what was new. And also I tried out a Titan for the first time. I thought I was going to be terrible at it, and I guess just punching things in the Supremacy really works out, because you're able to grab the crest at the same time.
Yeah, you did really great. I watched you play, and you went in very, very uncertain. And then I just watched people just run right by you. It was exactly like watching Bife play. You just ruled that roost. Like, you just walked in a straight line and you killed every single person you saw. It was amazing.
Just punch them until they're dead.
Right.
Yeah.
And yeah, it totally worked for you. And what was your best combination of weapons while you were playing? Because I totally agree. Like, the different weapons, the different setup. Like, I think that there's really a subtle difference in how your guardian performs with the different way you line up your intellect, strength, and discipline. Like, I feel like there's a real flow to it, and once you have a certain way, you're expecting that. Because I tried out the Memory of Fellwinter, and it was cool having 2 of each, but because I didn't have my 155 build, they didn't come back nearly as quickly, and so I was like, well, where's my super? Like, if I'm not going to get all these extra grenades and smoke bombs, where's my super? And then I didn't have it because I took it off.
Yeah, Remy, I felt exactly the same way. Like, I have that strength discipline build, and usually, and it still didn't, even though the Memory of Fellwinter gave me the extra melee smoke bomb, like, it wasn't enough or something. It wasn't fast enough. But then I tried out the enhanced tracking on the Titan, and that seemed cool, because it was like I could use a Titan but still see as much as if I was a hunter, and that was pretty awesome. But then just seeing the new maps and like playing around with the new maps was pretty amazing. I really can't wait for those to appear in the game. Although I admit, one time I got killed and I respawned and I had no idea where I was. And I was like running away from everybody, and I was like, oh, I'm supposed to pay attention and run toward the names that I see on the screen, because I was like running to the back of the map on accident, and I was like, where's everybody? Yeah.
That's funny. That sometimes happens to me on some maps. Like, we'll be playing, versus a group of people who really are dominating the map, and I'll get put into some way obscure spawn point, and I'll look around and I'll have no idea where I am.
Well, this was worse, because we had never seen these maps before, and like there's like little spaces on the outside borders of the maps where you're just like, where the heck, what room am I in? Yeah, it was cool. It was cool not knowing stuff.
Right. I'm really looking forward to exploring all these places that we've even seen so many times in Crucible. There's so many angles I want to check out that just with the flow of battle, it doesn't allow me to take too much time to really check it out. Okay. So that was DCC. That was PAX. Really awesome times. I'm planning on going to both next year. PAX is going to be a little bit more difficult because, seriously, it sells out so quickly. I actually found out because of you, Laze. Like, yours was the tweet. Like, I have your notifications turned on so that when you tweet, it just goes right to my phone, because I want to know what you're doing. I want to know what you're up to. Where is the next Mosscreek divide? And so I saw you were tweeting about, hey, it's time to get your PAX badges. So I appreciate that. But yeah, why don't we move on? Why don't we talk about some Destiny? Agros, exciting news. Hegemony just posted that Shaxx has new dialogue, and he said, I asked for an example, and he said, quote, "This is why we have fire teams," and Hedge's comment on this was, he was mad I was losing, haha. And that's hilarious. This is why we have fire teams. Very funny. Okay, Agros, moving on. What do we got?
Update 2.4.0 landed today after a lengthy maintenance window. This may be the most lengthy Destiny maintenance window since Destiny has launched. Am I right about that? I mean, we've never had maintenance last this long ever, right?
Yeah, not that I know of. Not during the prime time.
What is Bungie doing? It's taking so long. They knew it was going to take so long too. It's got to be crazy. I mean, what are they doing? I'm excited about that.
I think it had something to do with the armor dropping at a higher light level, and I feel like what happened was, I mean, this is absolute speculation right out my yin yang, but I think that it had something to do with that. Like, they don't want to be dropping higher light levels, and they reined it in as much as they could, and this is that product. They couldn't keep people out of their servers for too much longer.
I mean, they delayed it longer, but even before they added time to it, it was already proposed to be longer than ever before. So, yeah. I mean,
it was going to be 8 hours, and it ended up being 10.
That's what I mean. So what were they doing that they knew was going to take so long? I agree with you that maybe they have bugs, and that's why the extra 2 hours was added to rein in this whole light level thing. But
maybe
it's so crazy this time. I want to know.
Because the whole live team was out with Bife and everybody today.
Oh, they got PAX hangovers. That's what it is. Okay.
Hegemony says the Crucible right now is amazing. People are using all sorts of weapons, and that brings me to thinking, like, this is after those patch notes. Yeah, they are looking. The community right now is sniffing out what the next meta is. Everyone's trying all these different weapons to see what their time to kill is, and they'll stop on one that gives them the lowest time to kill. They'll report back to the internet, and then soon we'll have this whole new army marching with whatever is next in line to be the king. Very, very exciting. I bet he's totally.
Right. Next question: is Supremacy going to show up before Rise of Iron?
Yeah, I don't know.
Hope so.
Jez says no.
Like a week before Rise of Iron comes out.
I'm going to vote yes.
Rise of Iron or not?
Well, there is going to be something. There is going to be some kind of leading up to this week.
If they wanted to tease it, though, if they wanted to tease Supremacy, they would do it weeks ahead of time before, just not 1 week ahead of time.
Well, didn't they, though, for one of the previous expansions, I don't remember which, didn't we get the new Crucible maps free to everybody, whether you're buying the expansion or not, for the week prior?
Taken King and Rift?
Yeah, I can see that. I could see him dropping the maps, but not Supremacy.
You don't think Supremacy too? See, that's what I think. I think Supremacy is gonna be one of our week ahead surprise.
Well, see, I think they would want to take it away in order for it to be missed before, giving it us free.
And this, Jez, is why you're on the show, because you just shut down like 3 people right there. Hey, let's high five each other. We're gonna have this, and you just swatted them right out of the sky. You were like. Hopes up, hopes down.
That diagnosis. I think it's there for that week. Then people who weren't going to buy Rise of Iron get to play it, see how much fun it was. Then it gets taken away when Rise of Iron drops, and all their friends are still in there having fun. So all the people who didn't get Rise of Iron go out and buy it then.
See, and that's why you're on the show, Agrios, because you're just willing to take anyone's comment and be like, nope.
Yeah, I mean, it's a marketing strategy, and if they do it the same way as they did for Taken King, they released Rift, the new Crucible mode Rift, a week before Taken King came out. So I think it's a pretty easy step for them to release Supremacy 1 week before Rise of Iron comes out.
If you really want to slam dunk it, though, they would have announced it this Thursday.
Yeah.
There's no build up to it. They're not just going to be like...
I think it's supposed to be a surprise.
They were 100% sure they could still do it.
Yeah, that is true. Like, maybe they're not even sure.
You know?
Okay. They definitely said that they were going to do something the week before, leading up to it, didn't they? Or did I just make that up? Did I dream that?
No,
they did.
They did.
That's true.
Okay.
They didn't specifically say like how elaborate or it was, or that it was going to be something you could do in game, did they?
They said it was an event. They said an event.
Yeah, but that event could be we're doing a live stream of this that we didn't tell you we were going to do.
No, they said you were going to be able to do an event in Destiny. They didn't say they were going to have an event.
That's why I was asking to clarify. I wasn't sure about how they put it.
Yeah, that was my understanding. So
Let's talk about guns.
Guns. Yeah, guns. All kinds of changes. Everybody's out there playing with them. The auto rifles, they reduced the maximum magazine size for the high rate of fire auto family. That's, the Doctrine of Passing and the Soul Stealer's Claw. They increased the damage to the middle rate of fire auto rifles by 1.5%. So the middle rate of fire definitely could have used a buff. So it's good to see that. I'm sad that, though, we didn't see anything for the low rate of fire auto rifles, though, because I feel like those ones are hurting the most out of the whole family. The pulse rifles, they increased the rate of fire for the Hawkeye pulse rifle, the Lyudmila D. I have a couple variants of that in my vault that I'm happy I saved now, so we'll see how those work out, as well as they increased the damage for the middle rate of fire family pulse rifles, the Nerwin's Mercy, by 2%. I believe that would be the same as the PDX 41, right? And then the 45 is the Hawksaw model, if I'm not mistaken. So I believe that's the same model I use.
hey, is anyone near their console right now? Nox says that there's snow in the Cosmodrome Patrol, and I want confirmation on this. I want one of your guys on this.
Oh my god.
I'll boot up. But
It looks like Sharks is going to do it.
hand cannons,
Yeah,
they fixed
I'm
it.
gonna pull it up on stream too, so we can share with our listeners. Nobody leave the show to go play Destiny like we're encouraging you to unintentionally.
We will put this up for you to listen to later while you're playing or whatever. So yeah, have fun.
I think that they probably have the same fortitude I do. Like if they were like, oh, there's a Dreg in the Cosmodrome giving out exotics, I think it would be fair to say that we would all just get up as a community. Like it would be like on one of those creepy TV shows where people are activated and then they just zombie off. I think that's the way it would be. So we're close. We're close. Okay. Continuing, Agrios, or did I cut you off for some reason?
No, we're good. I'm continuing. So hand cannons, they didn't really make any changes to, but they fixed some issues where a couple of the hand cannons, Zioli's Bane, the Kumatok HC4, and the Down and Doubt 00-0, were displaying incorrect stats in game. Shotguns, a couple changes there.
Wait. They did. Maybe you just haven't. Maybe you're gonna get to it because it's an exotic, but they did something to the
exotics
Thorn.
are separate. The exotics are separate. These are just the general. These are just the types. We're going to get to the exotics after we go over the generalities.
Okay, cool.
You have to remember a thorn change is not a hand cannon change.
Agreed.
Well, yeah, right. But they're doing changes, blanket changes on certain guns, so you could say that it's a blanket change on a certain gun. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
So for shotguns, they buffed the Amobius. That's the special legendary shotgun awarded to the Titans. They decreased the spread on it to a 0.1 zoom factor increase, and they increased the base stability 60%. They also increased the high rate of fire and low rate of fire shotgun damages by 2%, and they reduced the spread angle penalty on shotguns with the full auto perk, though Invective was not affected. So it seems like they're trying to encourage the use of a greater range of shotguns, but I really don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. Maybe in PvE, that's the only place really useful auto. But I find myself just rarely using shotguns in PvE. Period.
Yeah, I do it. I do it if I'm out to just have fun. Like if I'm actually trying, I either go with the sniper rifle because I'm going to be hanging back, or I go with the sidearm because the sidearm's got so much ammo. Like I could main a sidearm, no problem. Properly placed bullets, even paying attention to my ammo supply at all. I could make a main out of the sidearm. But if I'm just going in to just have fun, there'll be times where I will just take a shotgun out because I want to see if I can make it to this fallen captain and take him down with just here's his head right over the reticle perfectly. Like I will only take it out to have fun. I have been using shotgun in PvP. Oh, I definitely wanted to talk about trials. I don't think we're going to get to that this week. But I played a bunch of trials because those stupid bounties are so easy to do. Why haven't I been doing those bounties? Every week, 150 marks I could just throw away on trying out a gun or whatever, and I'm just frustrated. I'm frustrated that I haven't put more time into it because I had a lot of fun. There's something about teaming up with 2 other people against 3 other people that was really appealing to me, and I used my Daedrus' retort, and I sat some fools down, like some serious, like there was many times that I wish I was on a PlayStation because I got some really great clips on the Xbox, like just dude after dude, trying to rush into the corner where I'm trying to lick my wounds, and I just pling, pling. Nothing so clutch where I killed all 3 of them, but definitely awesome in my growth as a PvP player. So I'm seeing reports that the rocket yard literally looks the same. There definitely was already snow there. Yeah, it all looks the same.
Yeah.
I don't.
The only thing that I notice is different is obviously you have you can not actually different in game. It's just different in where you the list would be for where you're trying to decide where you want to go. None of that changed.
It just looks different.
Yeah, it's just the main page.
The Plaguelands looks amazing to me, guys. That's just crazy. It looks great on my screen. Yeah,
you're funny.
This is
awesome. Okay, moving on. Or what were we talking about? Moving on.
Well, actually, you made me think of something. Before I forget about it, I want to bring it up now and get some confirmation on it so we can talk about it here. I heard at the beginning of the show that they had wiped all the Iron Banner bounties from people's inventories. Can we get confirmation on this?
Hold on, let me look.
I got a couple. I'm going to check on my phone.
I don't see any of my bounties. Where the heck are they? Yeah, they're not there. They took them all. That sucks.
Wow. There should have been warning because I had gold packages from Trials of Osiris I hadn't turned in yet. I had all of my Marks bounty from Iron Banner.
Trials packages are there, but all the Iron Banner ones are gone. That pisses me off.
Yeah, if you're listening to this on iTunes delayed, we're sorry to be the bearers of bad news. All of the bounties that you were saving are at least gone for now. Maybe Bungie will fix it, but I wouldn't get your hopes up.
Because it's a bummer. We should have had warning on that because that was a lot of work to get those bounties completed. It's not.
Remy's gone. He's leaving. He's leaving the show.
That's a lot of marks that I could have used for something. Yeah, I'm not happy about that. Yeah. I'm not happy about that. Who am I going to call to tell that I'm not happy about that?
Yeah, that wasn't cool. That wasn't.
We're now going to start a new segment on the Guardian 1 podcast called the Sharks 3D Man Rant.
No, he's not. He's not. Next time I see Cosmo on, I'm going straight to him and ask him what's going on.
I gave you a name for it. It's Shark Bites.
Shark Bites. That's right,
Shark
Jez.
Bites.
We're gonna have Shark Bites. Sharks, how do you feel about losing your bounties?
So yes. I am pissed as well. That's not a small amount of work that was done to get 3 bounties on all 3 Iron Banner characters. Like that's the whole reason I played Iron Banner right up to the last minute was to do that. I didn't even care about the rewards it was giving me.
So,
I only
remember
played.
what I said? I said this weeks ago, right after Iron Banner was done. Actually, it was before Iron Banner was done. Agrios and I were having a conversation, and my comment was, "Oh, I wonder if I keep all my Iron Banner bounties, every single one, because I made rank 5 on the second day, will I be able to turn them in for armor pieces?" Now I believe the answer would have been yes, which is why they wiped it.
And you know what, though? I don't mind if they wanted to wipe it. That's fine. But just tell me so I can turn in my bounties before the update then.
Yeah, they definitely should have told us. That was unacceptable. And I wouldn't even be surprised if we found out that they didn't know that was going to happen. I mean, because I feel like they know it's in their best interest to at least tell us. You know, they could have told us a week out. They could have told us that at the end of the Iron Banner.
No, but wait a minute. Why would you think that they wouldn't know when other bounties are still there? Like
because
trials.
Because this isn't Rise of Osiris. You know, I don't think that this is going to have a huge impact on Trials of Osiris, but it's going to have a huge impact on...
Okay, hypothetically speaking, the Trials of Osiris bounties aren't changing, okay, hypothetically speaking. All of the Iron Banner bounties are guaranteed changing. So maybe they actually removed all of the data from the old bounties from the game, and the people who, like, were supposed to communicate that just weren't on the same page about that. It needs to be communicated to the players.
Yeah,
it would have been if they were just doing new bounties, like not even using the old bounty, like bounty ID or whatever. They could have just left it for a week or two afterwards.
Well, they could have, but I mean, maybe it was a memory saving issue. You know, I don't know how crammed tight the system is now. Who knows?
Yeah, I always kind of wonder about that kind of thing because, like, remember last year they had the thing where if you had any outstanding quests, they would just autocomplete at the end of the before the update happened, and
yes.
You always wonder why that kind of thing happens. Is it like a database issue, or I don't know? And I never know if it's
wait
like
a minute.
They even know.
Did they just autocomplete for everybody? Are you full on marks?
No,
but they did not.
No.
They did not autocomplete this year.
Okay.
Sucks. What a bummer.
All right.
on.
Oh, as River would say, wah wah. Jake, did you have any bounties saved up from Iron Banner?
No, I had used them up in the previous Iron Banner to get to rank 5, so I was okay. Yeah.
You know, this bothers me because I spent so much time working on those. Like, if I knew that they just weren't going to be there, I would have used the ones that I had already had saved up. Like, there's ones that require you to be the tip top of the entire leaderboard on both teams. And, you know, once I got that, I held on to it until I really needed it. You know, like, I really want to buy this Iron Banner gear, and I'm 15 marks off. I can just use this, or, you know, have it push me up 1,500 points on the last day. Like I would have used it. I would have added those points. Like, I spent so many more hours playing, and I didn't even get what I was saving up for it. It's really rotten move, and I can't wait to see how they address it. They're going to have to address it. I bet the forums are overflowing with pissed off people right now. We should cut to some...
Unfortunately, whether it's intentional or not, it's another example of Bungie's decision-making possibly costing me what I worked hard for. Just like when they changed all those old gear, took all the coloring off all the old gear that I had saved up and everything, and I put all that effort into preserving that gear and not having other things because I kept it, and then they went and it was just, that effort was invalidated. So this is an unfortunate downside of Destiny with me so far, is that they keep invalidating certain efforts I make.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but it may be unintentional. It may be unintentional because, for instance...
Well, unintentional or not, they repeatedly keep doing it.
No, I understand that, but I mean, they are trying to do it where you don't have to go out and get new weapons and get new gear. For instance, the ornaments that you could put on exotics are on all your exotics now. Being able to do shaders,
they change those ornaments. Those ornaments might just be a different color one day, and you might not like them anymore because they just changed under your nose. So
I understand that, but I'm saying is that they're doing things that they're trying to do it where they're not just changing it anymore, or you're just having to scrap all your work. For instance, they said that they were going to have shaders on your marks, and I was like, oh, that's really cool, but now I'm going to have to go out and get a whole bunch of different marks again. Well, you don't, because they actually put that on the marks that you have. So, I understand your frustration, because I am frustrated. I hate it when they do stuff and they take stuff away from us that we've worked for. And in this case, it's bounties and whatnot. But I don't think that they're necessarily doing it on purpose right now.
Can anyone
I
confirm
think Go ahead.
Can anyone confirm if exotic engrams are decoding as the new exotics?
Just Trespasser.
No,
Just Trespasser. So you're telling me a existing exotic in your vault can decrypt to a new exotic? In the example of Trespasser. I just want to announce that K-Dub, our friend over at Guardian Radio podcast, owes me a few beers based on a long-standing bet we've had on this issue. K-Dub, if you're listening, I will accept those beers.
Hegemony in the chat says, saving completed bounties was never what they intended in the first place, was it? And I will say that judging by how they treated the packages from year one, and by treated them, I mean making them extinct like the dodo, and not being able to save them, but actually having to grab it from the person and auto-opening it at that time, I would say that that's a totally accurate statement. They didn't expect people to be saving up these bounties in between, in between Iron Banners. It just happens to be what happens.
It's not. I can't think it's that issue though, because if they did, they would have also done that for the weekly Trials of Osiris bounties.
Well, it doesn't make sense, because if I'm full on marks, I'm not going to turn them in and waste the marks. I'm going to save them until I spend the marks and redeem them. That's the way I've always handled the Iron Banner bounties for the most part. So, you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to return them. They're not designed for you to cash them in as soon as you complete them, because you just waste the marks if you already had full marks.
That's true. Okay, moving on.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Snipers. I didn't start to describe the snipers yet, right? We left off after shotguns, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So big changes to the snipers. Reduced damage on the middle high impact, the 1,000-yard stare family of sniper rifles by 6.95%, almost 7%. The middle high impact snipers can no longer reliably kill high armor guardians in super. The No Land Beyond is not affected by this damage reduction, though. They reduced the target acquisition for the LDR 5001 and the longbow synthesis to bring it in line with other snipers in the middle to high rate of fire family. They increased the starting strength for aim deflection, aka flinch, when players take damage when scoped, from 30% starting to 50% starting. With every subsequent hit, the strength of deflection increases till you hit 100% max deflection. Overall, sniper ADS aim deflection multiplier increased to 1.9%, was 1.85%. They also fixed an issue where the Irene Uri stat bars showed an incorrect rate of fire. So, I, for one, I'm not a huge sniper type person and am killed by snipers far more than I kill with snipers, am thrilled about all this. I'm also thrilled about the flinch changes, because now my full auto high caliber round pulse rifle that already messes with snipers something fierce, they're never going to be able to hit me if I peg them first with it.
Do you guys think it's a little silly that they like took down the flinch of the Mida, like the last patch, and now they're reinstating it in like all the rest of the guns? Seems a little weird. But
I was sad they took that away from the Mida 2 for PvE reasons. I thought that hurt the gun substantially for PvE.
Yeah, it's. I think that overall, this is very welcome. Overall, this is very welcome.
I was just going to say, as far as the changes that Mida goes, the one difference is this only affects people who are sniping, whereas the Mida hit everybody with that flinch, sniping or not.
There you go.
Well, okay, so I wanna pipe in, since I am a sniper. I like the changes. I don't think that they're going to I don't think they're going to offset a lot of people that are sniping anyways, but it may bring in other types of sniping. For instance, I personally love my Iron Banner sniper. I think it's great. But when you're playing trials, you need to use those, hard-hitting snipers because you want the res snipes and whatnot. And I think kind of changing the mentality of that gun might change the way people play. And maybe some of these low-impact snipers are going to start to be used. I think that they were hoping that people would use them anyways back when they did all the sniper changes in the beginning back. I don't remember exactly when it was. It was months ago now. But it just made it where there were three main snipers that people would use. And I think that this might kind of change it again, and where we'll have a lot more people using other types of snipers because the drawbacks on those hard-hitting snipers. But only time will tell. But I'm excited to see it as a sniper.
Excellent. Moving on.
I'm just hoping that it somewhat makes it more difficult for me to end up in the situation where I'm running at full speed. There's another guy like 10 feet away from me running at full speed, and still he manages to headshot me with his sniper. The aim assist is just too great at that point.
Agreed.
So, next, sidearms. They unify damage for all sidearm types. They increase damage for the existing Hake sidearm families by 3% for the lowest rate of fire and 7% for the higher rate of fire. They decrease the damage for the non-hit scan sidearms by 5% for the Vestian Dynasty and the Queen's Choice. The minor extension of damage fall-off point for sidearms across the board is 0.5 meters. The minor increase of stability... There's a minor increase of stability for sidearms across the board. They added damage bonus in PvE, 20 to 30% depending on the combatant tier. And to accommodate two new, faster firing sidearm families releasing in Rise of Iron, all current sidearm rate of fire bars will be slightly shorter. This is to allow more bar space to display the rate of fire differentiation. This does not change the actual rate of fire, just the stat bar representation. So that's key. Anybody who doesn't read that is going to be kind of freaked out when they look at their favorite sidearm stat next time they log in. For fusion rifles, the accelerated coils correctly reflects damage reduction now on the UI stat bars. There's no change to the gameplay effect, just the UI. And this is a good move because a lot of people using accelerated coils weren't, maybe as educated as others and didn't realize they were actually nerfing their own damage while using it. They also fixed an issue where the stat bars and the tension rage displayed incorrectly. For rocket launchers, they extended damage fall-off distance on the cluster bomb perk's explosions. They should more reliably damage enemies now. And the grenades and horseshoes perk proc radius has been reduced from 1.3 meters down to 1 meter. Truth, however, is not affected. For machine guns, they increased the damage on the highest rate of fire of machine guns by 4%. Maybe they'll be vaguely useful now, not just instant deletes. I don't know. I probably just still delete that one. So they also made a change to a variety of the weapon perks. The magazine perks now give range bonuses, and they removed impact stat bonuses that had no effect on base damage and only on the UI bars. So apparently people may have thought they were getting some buffs they weren't getting before. Armor-piercing rounds adds +4 range, reduces handling by 4. The high-caliber rounds adds +3 range, but reduces the handling by 5. And skip rounds adds +5 range, but reduces the handling by 3. And adds +5 inventory. So definitely a bit of a handling nerf to the high-caliber rounds rifles out there. I'm going to have to see how that changes the performance of my favorite pulse. Take a Knee now activates after 0.5 seconds of crouching and added flint reduction of 25% and increased aim down sight speed by 25%. So it seems like Take a Knee is going to be the new go-to sniper if it's highly effective in canceling out the current nerfs.
Yeah, but that's gonna be pretty. You're very limited to what you're gonna do. You're not gonna get snipers sitting down lanes, moving back and forth. They're gonna be popped on their knee, staring at you, and that's not fun for a sniper.
And not only that, but I believe that the take a knee perk, if I remember correctly, gives you perfect accuracy. Like the bullet will always go right at your crosshairs exactly when the take a knee perk's activated. For Exhumed, they added a extra 5 seconds, 15 seconds total to the effect time. For Cascade, they added they made a functional change. Melee kills automatically reload a portion of the magazine. For Surplus, it now increases carried ammo capacity, which is awesome for me because in PvE I'm almost never not wielding my Surplus rifle unless I absolutely need a specialty item in that slot. For Grave Robber, they increased the proc chance to 25%. It used to be 20%. For Guerrilla Fighter, they increased stability and range bonuses by 20%. They say think of it as bonus hammer forged and perfect balance when the perk activates. For Unflinching, they decreased the efficacy of the perk from 25% flinch reduction to 15% flinch reduction. And for Firefly, the possible fix for they possibly fixed the crash related to the special effects triggered by the Firefly perk. In particular, on some of the weapons that Firefly procced with certain other perks, it would cause people's games to crash. I never personally experienced, but I never really used those types of guns that often.
Yeah, that's crazy.
What do you guys, before we get into the exotic weapons, what do you guys think about the overall changes to the weapon school? What are you most excited about testing now when you go back to the game, Remy?
We haven't talked about it yet, but I'll say it right now. It's that universal remote bullpucky. So,
well, I was more looking at your
go-to
go-to archetypes, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't feel like I feel like all of these changes are changes that I wanted. Badass Brit on Twitter the other day said, like, I don't understand why so many people are upset by universal remote. You know, it's not that hard to counter. And I countered with, not everyone is as badass as you. It even says so in your name. Like, I'm not badass Remy. I'm just Remy. I mean, there's even a 3 in my name. Like, what is even that all about? And so, you know, somebody else commented, you know, I look at it as this is the tool set Bungie wants us to use, so I'm going to use that tool set. And that was her take on it as well. And these changes and changes that we have yet to hear about, these all reflect, many of them reflect things that I have been thinking about the game, like that need to be changed and need to be different. And they're changing to the way I think they should be. So for me, much of this is, it just makes me feel validated in thinking that there was a balance that still needs to be tinkered with. You know, granted, this might not be enough or it might be too much. They might need to revisit it again as time goes on, but I feel like this all represents
Remy,
aspects of the game that I wanted.
What change surprises you the most?
The flinch, actually. Like after talking about people, you know, about how, well, this is the way it's supposed to be, and feeling for so long that this is not the way it's supposed to be, but hearing that, you know, like, people like it the way it is. They don't want to be knocked out of aim down scope. I want them to be knocked out of aim down scope. Like snipers are able to kill you in one hit if you give those people even a second to lock onto you. And so with that kind of power should come the ability to knock you out of that much power. Like, there should be risk and reward. If there is no risk that you're going to not kill your target because you've spotted them first and because they're because they're using a primary, then that weapon is too overpowered. And so I was most surprised by the addition of flinch to the whole thing, because I've really wanted it for so long, and I didn't ever think it was going to happen. And so I'm excited to see how that goes. Gray, was there something that stood out to you in these weapon changes?
Well, yeah, I mean, I like playing with sniper, like Sharks was commenting on before. Oddly enough, I never had hidden hand until it was the vendor Waylorn's March during Rise or during Iron Banner. So I never had a super high aim assist build or roll on one of my snipers. So I really had to rely on a little bit more. I don't know if you'd call it gun skill, but I didn't have that as something to help slow down the reticle as I'd come across the precision shot area. So I think that this will help me in situations where there's 50-50 matchups because I don't rely on the aim assist near as much.
Jake, does this listing of changes affect you in any way, positive or negative?
Well, I think like the rest of the population, like I am interested to like go jump into the Crucible and see how this affects the game. Like I'm pretty excited actually to try out Guerrilla Fighter because it seems like they've been trying to promote that perk for a long time and making it better and better, and now they increased the effectiveness by like 200%, 300%, whatever it was. So I want to see if that actually makes a difference now.
You know, I have several pieces of gear that have really great rolls, except for that Guerrilla Fighter, and so I'll just keep it because there's other things that I would hate to have more than Guerrilla Fighter, and so I just keep these ones because the rest of it is really awesome. And so I think that Guerrilla Fighter would mean more to me if I was more easily able to see where I was going to use this. There's really only like 2 examples that I can think of where I know that this is proccing. Like there's only, and both of those examples are in the Prison of Elders. The only place I've ever found where there was duck height out of view and then standing up height shooting over a barrel, or whatever. The only times I've ever seen that is in Prison of Elders. And so if there was an easier way for me to tell where I could get this to proc, like the idea of hiding most of myself behind some kind of terrain, that appeals to me as someone who's interested in kind of being sneaky and going that route. But I just don't know when it's going to proc. I don't know where.
You can tell when it procs. Any wall that you walk up behind, and then when you pull the aim button, it automatically makes you peek over the wall. That's where it would proc.
No.
Oh, really?
I know about that, Agrios. But what I'm saying is it's difficult to identify those places without walking up to every wall and trying it out. Do you see what I'm saying?
There's certain ones I have go-to in the Crucible that I do that in. Like, for instance, in the room in Rusted Lands at Alpha, that broken hole in the wall that you can see both left and right from, like down toward Charlie or down toward Bravo. Uh-huh. There's a nice piece of rubble there that I always clip people coming from Charlie over the top of by doing the head peek on while I'm watching that little cave down below to the left there. Mm-hmm. So that's like a spot where I would use it, for instance.
I think I just have to pretend like I'm playing Uncharted or like Metal Gear Solid or something.
Right. Gears of War. In Gears of War, everything was like waist high, or it wasn't waist high. Like there was a very clear definition of between what you could shoot over, what you could hide behind, and what you could shoot over. And I just wish that there was a little bit more, I guess, more terrain overall and more clearly identified. It seems like something that, like, seriously, I only ever use on that one hive mission on the far side from when you enter. Like, it's the only time I've ever used that Guerrilla Fighter, and even then half the time I don't have that specific sniper rifle with me because I'm not able to just put them all side by side and pick out which ones I want. I'd have to really do some inventory management there. Sharks, what does this weapon change mean to you? You're still muted.
Sharks?
Sorry, I pushed the wrong one. I like that there are a lot of changes. I like it when they mix up everything. It makes the game fresh. I'm kind of surprised that they did it now, but I'm glad they did. I'm surprised because there were a lot of people asking, were they going to be doing a sandbox update? And they were saying no, not until after Rise of Iron. Well, that's a bunch of BS, but that's great BS. This is exciting to see all these changes. I'm surprised on some of them though. They didn't really mix up some of the weapons that I thought they were going to. For instance, they did a buff on Nerwin's, and that gun already is awesome. So why would they add 2%?
You know what?
It's only 2%. But
that's the same thing I'm surprised about too.
Yeah, I mean that gun there. I love my Nerwin's. I have a Nerwin's. I also have a Queen's version. I can't remember the name at the moment. And they wreck in PvP. So for them,
my PDX is the version of that. So
yeah, it's surprising to me, but at the same time, they've done so many changes on so many guns. It's definitely gonna change the meta, and that's good. There's nothing wrong with them doing that. So yeah, it's very exciting. I can't wait to finally get in. I was hoping to be able to come to the podcast tonight and tell everybody, oh, this and this happened, but they took too long doing it all today. So
got it. Jez, what do these changes mean to you?
Not too much, because most of them are for perks that I don't really find are useful for 90% of your gameplay.
Right. I feel like going into year 2, they gave us a lot of perks that weren't really perks. They were kind of just to water down what was already there. Like some of them are just kind of totally worthless. Unless I could see most of them being like for people who play a certain style, like that Grave Robber and Exhumed. Like if your plan was to go out there and get yourself killed, and then rise up and do all this extra damage, I could see that. But I mean, for your average player, or for even my average playtime, that's not how I play. So I feel like they watered down the perk pool.
I really think that maybe with some of the perks, they were anticipating some of the content coming up and allowing for a variety in tactics with it. Like, there's the challenge velders and everything like that, and there's different modifiers and things like that. And like, for instance, the weeks that you have your shields don't replenish, but they're stronger. I can't remember the name of it or whatever. But while they're strong, while they're there, you're really strong. You can take a heck of a beating. Like the weeks that they had that and the melee challenge, it was kind of fun to get out there and just let yourself get killed when it came time to it, because then you come back just super, super strong and your teammates could just keep reviving you. Some of these perks, I think, could be used very strategically for a lot of fun in certain situations like that. Unfortunately, because of Bungie's take on inventory and inventory management, you don't really have the space to keep a lot of frivolous stuff that isn't any good just for playing around with for fun, which is kind of unfortunate.
Agreed. Agrios, did you... Gray, did I already ask you what this means to you? Gray, what does all these weapons balance changes mean to you?
We already covered me.
Okay, excellent. Agrios, why don't you give us the last word and then moving on.
I think I managed to fill you in most of it as I read that and sharing my thoughts. Like, for instance, I was most surprised at the Nerwin's Mercy buff, like Sharks was and whatnot. I'm most concerned about the high caliber rounds affecting my gameplay, because I just so love that PDX I have with full auto and high caliber rounds that I'm afraid it's going to change its place in the meta. I'm afraid that either the handling is going to just make it just that little bit too much for me to be able to like target things as far away as I would like with the high caliber rounds turned on. My other concern is that with my main love for the high caliber rounds is fighting snipers, although I'm sure it helps me in a lot of situations. I'm concerned that with the added flinch to the snipers themselves, it may invalidate my need for high caliber rounds. Like perhaps that rifle with some perk other than high caliber rounds is still going to make those snipers flinch to the point where they can't hit me back. And if that's the case, I'm just giving my gun a handling nerf unnecessarily. and could also run something other than high caliber rounds in that perk slot to make the gun a better gun. So I am a little concerned about my favorite gun at this point being affected by the flinching high caliber round relationship.
That makes a lot of sense. Jake, did you already give your input on this?
I was talking about the guerrilla fighters. You got me.
Yep.
Got it. I thought so. I just wanted to make sure. I'm forgetful and enjoy hearing myself speak. So at some point, I was just going to cut all of you off to continue my conversation with myself and these fine people who are here to listen. I'm glad that that wasn't the case, though. I don't want to be that person. It's just who I am. Okay, Agrios, you said that that's pretty much you got done with everything, or was that just in relation to that?
That's the weapon archetypes. Then we have the exotics we can talk about, and a number of other changes coming up with the coming in the update here.
Got it.
That was just weapon update, the weapon tuning.
Let's talk about universal remote.
That's actually next on the list.
Excellent. Why don't you give us the lowdown?
So the exotic perk range bonus has been reduced by 75%. No longer guarantees maximum shotgun range. They increased the rate of fire, decreased damage as a secondary effect to that, though.
You know what? So this goes back to my thoughts on shotguns. When I was purchasing that Jingu Kogo because I wanted to have any shotgun at all, because I felt like I was going to need to protect myself from shotgun users, I always said to myself, and it's the same way I feel about my armor and speed. I don't know. I forgot what those things are, but I always go armor because if I can't survive an assault, then how fast my health and shields regenerate doesn't mean anything at all. And so I felt the same way about shotguns. Why would I need more than even one shot if that one shot was just going to kill the guardian right in front of me? I realized this was a little short-sighted and that sometimes there's multiple guardians, but you know, this whole thing, increased rate of fire, if they're not able to just take you down from, 9 feet away in game, like it's ridiculous. So seeing that this is brought down by 75%, it makes me giddy inside, because I just feel like it's too easy. I feel like it's too easy. I feel like I need to be using universal remote in order to stay competitive, because if I don't have the same weapon they are, because I'm shooting away with my scout rifle and it's just not taking down nearly as much, and then they come within, even like I said, 9 feet of me in game, and that's it. Just one shot, gone. It's just such a horrible feeling. And this goes right. Huh?
Remy, I want to interrupt, because what you're saying is that you don't want to play the meta.
Yeah, I want to be able to play how I want to play. Is that wrong?
That's not how Destiny is. Destiny is play the meta or sit back, get beaten up, and don't complain about it, because that's how it is. I agree with you. I mean, I personally hate playing the meta. I don't do it unless I really, really need to. Like sometimes in trials, I'll pull out guns that you kind of have to use. But at the same time, that's just the way it is, and after so many months, it all changes. And then you have a new set of guns that you have to complain about. It's like, I don't know.
That's just this. That's just exactly what I'm saying. The fact that they're changing this, the fact that they've singled this out for this tuning, means that I was right to want to play what I want to play. I don't think that Bungie wants you to have to necessarily play the meta. Certainly, for some odd reason, they give the best PvP players the actual best weapons in the whole game, because that's balanced somehow. Like, if this person's already going to win with an Arms Day test device, why putting Doctrine of Passing Adept in their hand is going to keep anything balanced? But this right here says to me that that universal remote is more powerful than they intended, and that leads me to want to play what I want to play, how I want to play. I feel like there's this there's like a chart that just leads in one direction straight up, and this is what everybody has to use. And they don't want it to be like that. They want it to have a plateau. They want it to have that's why they do all this balancing. That's why all of this is here. That's why there's this entire list of changes, because I feel like Bungie wants you to be able to play how you want to play. You know, when we discovered that hand cannons were part of the primary selection instead of the special, it was because a lot of people at Bungie didn't want to be a Space Marine. Specifically, those words. They didn't want to be a Space Marine. They wanted to play how they wanted to play.
Do you think that they're going to do something about shoulder charge then? Because there were two things going on in PvP, and it was universal remote, shoulder charge.
That's a good question. I feel like they addressed shoulder charge. I've been dying from it much less lately. I feel like they might have increased the aim assist if you were going to get it right already. Kind of like how the you only do extra damage if you hit a headshot now instead of extra damage even for a body shot. I feel like this is... I've just seen so many more Titans just fly right by me, and I feel a lot less worse about dying to them. I don't know. It sounds like you have not had that same experience.
I try not to zero in on the issues at hand. I mean, we over the weekend I was playing Trials, and I know some of the people I was saying, some of the people in my group, they were saying, oh, universal remote, but I try to not let that mindset get in. So I haven't really noticed about shoulder charge. I mean, maybe it has changed. I don't know. I just wanted to bring it up to see what your thoughts were on it, though.
Yeah. I hate shoulder charge. I hate universal remote, but I feel like they've done a lot to address it. Okay, so we have 8 minutes left. Jake, is there anything that you wanted to talk about before we left that you wanted to talk about coming onto the show?
Oh, shoot. I think you kind of gave me the spotlight for most of the show, so I'm good.
Good.
Jake,
because,
are you a shotgunner?
Actually, I avoided shotguns for such a long time, and basically until this month. I started picking up the shotgun and playing around with it, and it is pretty OP. It is pretty OP.
Is that universal remote you're talking about?
No. I was actually using the what's it called, the one shot shotgun thing, the chaperone, and I really like the chaperone because at least you have to aim for the head. And it feels like it's taking skill, and it feels like you're like a cowboy out there. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. I have yet to get the chaperone because I didn't have an opportunity to. I didn't get it when SRL was there.
Yeah, I did it during SRL.
Oh man, I wish I had done that. I got enough wins to at least do that. Sad. All right, good. Well, I'm glad because I wanted to make sure that you were the focus of the show, and that because you're not going to be here next week, and that makes me sad. But I feel like I squeezed you for as much information as I was really looking forward to.
But I'll definitely be in chat.
Awesome. Yeah, it's really great to have you. It's really great to have you in this community. The community it's filled with a lot of great people, and you are a very specific. Great people, and it was really great to have you on the show.
Thanks.
If you're ever interested in just coming back on the show and chit-chatting about Destiny, we do this every week, and I have a really good time with it. It's a lot of fun. I have kids, and that's what I do. Like, I'm a family stay-at-home guy, and so this gives me an opportunity to just totally nerd out on Destiny, and it feels great. It feels great to nerd out on Destiny, especially with all these guys. It's quite a ride. A podcast.
Oh yeah.
Okay, Jez, is there anything else you want to talk about before we left? Sharks, is there anything else you want to talk about? No. Agrios, is there anything you want to talk about? Unmute yourself and tell me no.
If he wants to talk about his mute button.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Skype freezing and not putting the little button up for me to be able to even push it. I'm like punching my screen, like, come on, button, come on, I gotta talk here.
Right. All you wanted to say was no.
Yeah, I know. I'm like punching my screen. I'm like, come on. See,
Great.
don't you wish that was on camera?
Yeah, I do.
I
do.
wish it was too. Next week, it's a promise.
Is there anything you want to talk about before we left, Gray?
Yeah, I also want to extend a very big thank you to Jake, also known as his pen name, Lazesummerstone. It was wonderful to have you on the show. Your contributions to the Destiny community, both in your artwork, but we've got to know you a little bit better. It's just the kind of guy you are, and it's clear to see why Bungie views you as an ideal representation of what a strong community member should be. You've got such a good personality. You're always friendly. You're open. You want to help out, and that's just great. And so I'm glad that we could highlight you on the show. Again, I just want to plug. Check out his Redbubble page. Check out his comics. Support him as an artist because he deserves it. His work is great. So thank you for taking the time. And as Remy said, you're always welcome back, man. You're always welcome back to chat about Destiny.
Thanks, Gray.
I did want to say one thing right along those same lines too. Is that one thing I appreciate about Watermelon XO and whatnot is Destiny is very inspiring, and you do see a lot of great artwork come from the Destiny community.
Oh yeah.
And one thing I really appreciate that makes Watermelon XO stand out from some of the other art I see is that the whole thing, that the knowledge contained within it and the way it's like inspired is it just breathes Destiny. Like you can tell that it was done by someone who's passionate about Destiny and like knows about Destiny and wasn't just simply inspired by the visuals of Destiny. Like some artwork that's very, very beautiful is like doesn't necessarily maybe just looks like that. It's inspired by Destiny, whereas Watermelon XO just breathes Destiny.
I agree with that statement.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
You can definitely tell that Laze is a fan. Okay, so that is it. That is all the time we have. I did want to say, Maynard says in the chat, it's way more fun to play the meta than constantly complain about it. And I guess I could try that, but I don't want to play with the universal remote. Like why? Like I don't think that I'll have fun playing with this weapon I feel is overpowering and cheating. Like when I kill that guy and the only satisfaction is that I won. What is the difference between that and just being handed a reward? Like if there was no dance, I don't know.
Can I give a suggestion to that? Actually, I always see a meta, but I always try my best to try to make a new meta instead, and like try to make a loadout that no one's expecting, and like that is maybe stronger than the meta, because it's possible. I think.
Really, the problem with Destiny is while meta is in every game. There's also in every game usually a counter to it, and usually a counter to that, and then usually a counter to that. But this one just has one standard loadout.
Capri Sting, baby.
Also, I wanted to say that the last couple of episodes I've watched the video of these episodes, and I'm really excited, Agrios, for you to get on the video because. As I'm watching the podcast on YouTube, I feel like I'm really relating to each of us. Like I will say something provocative or shocking, and I'll see sharks laugh. And as a viewer, there's this whole additional connection being made with, do you agree with me as I'm speaking? Do you agree with Sharks as he's reacting? Like each of these people is reacting in a certain way, and I feel like that's adding so much of a connection to this podcast. And when you start to talk, Agrios, I'm actually lost. I'm actually literally lost because I'm looking for who's saying this, and because you just have that image, my eye is not drawn to that at all, and so it's disconnecting.
I'm the narrator.
But also, I look really weird. And I want to apologize. I want to apologize to everybody watching. I look really weird, like I smile weird, and
No,
I guess I just
Remy.
haven't
It's
spent.
okay, man.
I haven't spent a whole lot of time looking at myself and watching myself talk and laugh. I'm like goofy.
Remy, don't worry about it. We
Weird.
got a guy on the show with a green head and a pink mouth. I mean, that's
Looking
just
around,
weird.
bewildered.
And then the other thing that I noticed, and this really makes me sad, is I say way too much. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. That sucks. And if I could change it, I would, and I will be actively trying to not say as much because it's just irritating. I don't know how any of you listen to it, and I'm sorry. I just got there again.
Hedgen.
Remy, haven't you figured out? We just don't listen.
And you know what? That's cool. That's cool. I'm happy with that. You know, this is all of this, the 18 people that are listening now, and the 6,410 views we have, and the 7,705 followers we have. This is all just some kind of Truman show for me. I'll take it. You know, I'll take it. I'm doing pretty good if that's the case. So that's it. Hedge says Bungie confirms Trespasser dropping early is intentional.
Let's get
So-
one.
So there you go. Why
Thanks for
don't
the
you,
present, Bungie.
Right.
Well, they don't say it's intentional. They just say they know about it and they're not really changing it.
Oh. Damn it.
All they
Hedge.
said was
Hedge also says
Trespasser
Sharks
dropping
eye
early?
rolls are the
Yeah.
best, and I agree.
Okay, so there I go again. I hate it. There I go again. I hate it. So let's do shout outs, starting with you, Jake.
Give a shout out to you guys for letting me be on the show, and it was fun, and you guys are really incredible hosts, and thank you very much. Oh, and one more thing, I'm going to after Rise of Iron drops, I'm going to have a Crucible. I'm going to have a Crucible like contest in my Watermelon Exo clan. Just saying, and I'm giving out those emblems.
Have you ever tried a partnership with Mr. Fruit?
No. That
Watermelon.
I think there's some name synergy there.
yeah, I think you're right.
So Jake, you're saying that part of your Crucible clan event that you're going to put together and you're hosting, you're going to have Union of Light. Is that what it's called? The Union of Light emblem codes to give out?
Yeah, I got 6 Union of Lights, and I have 6 of the exclusive PAX pin sets to give away.
Awesome. So if somebody wants to participate, what do they need to do?
I already told Jake I'm claiming one of those.
You just
I would've
gotta
pitched that.
join my group, one of my groups. Just,
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll join all the groups.
And it's not gonna be till next month because I wanna let everyone get the equipment that they like and stuff first. So
Sure.
sometime next month. Yeah.
All right.
Excellent. Grey Ghost, shout out.
Yeah, so my shout out is going to go to Hefty Flounder. You guys know that my beautiful wife, Hefty Flounder, on the Xbox One, we play Destiny together. I've been a little bit of a difficult person, let's say, to be in the same house with over this last week or so, just because work has been kind of really demanding, and it was a very long week, and she's been very comforting, very understanding. So I just wanted to thank her for being a great person and a great partner in life, a good guardian to go in and play Destiny with, and we're excited to jump into Rise of Iron. In fact, I apologize to you guys. I'm actually not doing clan Rise of Iron stuff right off the bat because Hefty Flounder and I were going to do it together, and then I'm going to jump in with the Guardian 1 guys the next day.
Awesome.
So yep, it's for her.
Excellent. You kick ass, Hefty Flounder. Sharks.
My shout out goes to every Guardian 1 member that played Trials last weekend. I found a lot of really good Trials people in our clan. We've made some Trials groups, and it was a blast. So shout out to all of you Guardians.
Excellent. Agrios.
I want to shout out to Maynard James, our Guardian 1 clan member, and also to randos I got off DestinyLFG.com, Iceman and ASD. they both helped me in trials, and we had fun and completed our bounties, and shout out to them for that. A little side note for my favorite Destiny, lfg.com site. It's the .com one's the one I like. I had a lot of luck there, like how they have the setup. They're making an all-in-one ftw.in is the name of their site. They're going to work with lots of other games too. So a little shout out to them on that.
Awesome, excellent. Jez.
As a fellow purveyor of very colorful logos, I gotta give my shout out to my clan that I met a few more of them this past weekend at PAX.
Excellent. That's awesome. Shout out to them. Good job. Okay. My shout out this week goes to Gene Roddenberry, the creator of Star Trek. Tonight, half hour into our show, actually right around the time we were starting, 50 years ago on September 8th, 1966 at 8:30 p.m. in color, this TV show entered the airwaves, and my dad was watching it, and he was 11 years old, and it really had a very profound effect on him, and therefore it had a very profound effect on me, because I grew up in this world of Star Trek. Like, my dad loved the shit out of it, and so I grew up with it always around. And the Next Generation broadcast when I was 9 years old, so it was, there was this passing of the torch, and I really got to experience this, with him, and it's really a great thing. Gene Roddenberry really changed the landscape. He really influenced, so much of what is here right now. And it's a shame that he can't be here to see this. Actually, you know what? I take that back. I hate the reboots, and I'm glad that he didn't have to look at that crap because it doesn't have anything to do with Star Trek. What the hell? But yeah. Shout out to Gene Roddenberry.
The reboots were actually good, so
You kick ass, Gene Roddenberry. What is it, Gray?
So I just wanted to remind all of our listeners that next week we are going to have Mesa Sean on the show. He's going to be interviewed as part of kind of our pre-Rise of Iron interview series that we're doing here. So please tune in again if you're listening. Come check out the live show, because word is he's got his streaming setup complete, including a new webcam. So I'm hoping that we can actually get his webcam footage up, and we can see the Mesa Sean live on air as well.
Awesome, very awesome. And like I was saying, Gene Roddenberry, you kick ass. I know you're dead, but maybe you're hanging out. Who knows? Who knows what happens in the afterlife? And I want you to know you kick ass. And thank you for your contribution.
The planet?
Yeah, that's where he is. And that wraps up episode 99. I would like to thank everyone listening for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you have any questions or suggestions for topics to be discussed on the show, please leave them in the comments below or send them to feedback@guardian1.net, and we will see you next week.